Joining me now is Representative Mo Brooks from Alabama's 5th Congressional District to expand on the topic of a potential Biden transition and what could stand in the way of that happening. So, Congressman, I know that 2 weeks ago you and I were talking about the idea that you plan on challenging the Electoral College vote if Joe Biden were to end up being the person that they're putting out on the floor. Is that still the case?
Oh, absolutely. Nothing has changed from 2 weeks ago to today. I'm still persuaded by the preponderance, well, heck, not preponderance, by the compelling nature of the evidence that if you were to count only lawfully cast votes by eligible American citizens, then Donald Trump won the Electoral College and is due to be reelected President of the United States.
And, of course, Politico yesterday issued the report saying the very same thing, although you and I, as I was just saying, talked about this 2 weeks ago. But in their report, they said that you wanted a Senate colleague in order to join you if that were to be the case of challenging the Electoral College results. Has anybody shown interest in doing the same thing in the upper chamber?
Well, I've not made a specific request to any specific senator, no conversations with any of them about co-sponsoring the objection. But at some point in time, there will have to be a senator, or else the objections that I raise will be dismissed for lack of a senator. The legal requirement is for any objection to push us to a House floor vote or a Senate floor vote, there must be a senator and there must be a congressman coalescing on that objection.
And when it comes to this issue of election integrity more broadly, there's a lot of conservatives, a lot of Republicans out there saying, yes, we need to get the presidential election figured out, but we also need to make sure that our future elections are free, fair, and secure as well. Do you think that should be a priority for not only Republicans in your chamber, but also some senators in the upper chamber as well?
Well, the primary reason to fight this battle is because, at least in my judgment, Donald Trump was duly elected by the lawful votes of eligible American citizens, okay? But a secondary effect of all this is we need to tell the states that we're no longer going to accept their submissions of Electoral College votes if they have a state election process that is so suspect, that is so flawed as to render it untrustworthy of our trust. And quite frankly, there are a number of states right now that I lack confidence in the reports that they're going to give us. I do not believe the vote count in Nevada, particularly with the 90-something thousand vote itemization that was given yesterday to the Nevada court, in which the evidence is pretty good that over 90,000 votes were illegally cast, that 40,000 people voted twice, things of that nature. Similarly, you've got Georgia, you've got Pennsylvania, and probably a good number of other states that have systemic issues, flaws with their election process, and the only way to demand them to do better is by refusing to allow them to continue to use a system in which voter fraud and election theft is so easy to perpetuate.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because yesterday I know the Trump campaign was launching one of their proceedings in the state of Nevada. We also saw those bombshell hearings in the state of Georgia, which has since really kind of brought a lot of people on board who may have been skeptical before, because yesterday we saw some video footage. We heard Governor Brian Kemp even say that he wants to follow through on a signature audit in his home state. Is that the type of pressure that these state governors, these state legislatures need in order to make some changes from within the state, whether it's in regard to signatures, whether it's in regard to deadlines, whether it's in regard to the processes and the chains of commands of these ballots? Is it a big picture thing, or do you think that there's a single issue that they should be focusing on?
Now, the American election system has systemic flaws in a variety of different ways. By way of example, we need to repeal the National Voter Registration Act that makes it illegal for America's voter registrars to not give voter registration cards to illegal aliens and non-citizens. How is it illegal? Well, because our voter registrars are denied the ability to insist on proof of citizenship when they suspect that an individual is not an American citizen. And you would think that that would be a simple thing, that we don't want anyone to vote in our elections other than lawful American citizens. But the Democrats, they have end-run that, they have gamed that to the point where Joe Biden was looking at a block vote of 11 million to 22 million illegal aliens, depending on whether you accept the 2010 census as being accurate, that's 11 million, or a Yale study that says it's around 22, 23 million. He's looking at that, and in the last publicly televised debate on October 22nd, he's trying to induce these illegal aliens to illegally register to vote and illegally cast votes because they know we can't stop them. And what was the inducement? An express promise of amnesty and citizenship. That's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow for them. So you better believe there were huge numbers of illegal aliens who participated unlawfully in this election back on November the 3rd of this year. And in the Nevada instance, they were able to identify in a small populous state 4,000 illegal aliens who wrongfully cast ballots, and I suspect there are a whole lot more in Nevada. But if that's all it is nationwide, is 4,000 per state, that's 200,000 illegal aliens voting. Personally, I suspect it's much more than that, probably in the millions who voted because of Joe Biden's promise, vote for me, I'll give you amnesty and citizenship. And he made no qualms about the limitations. He said all of you, 11 million plus. Of course, that's going back to the 2010 census. Right. But everybody who is here illegally, Joe Biden is seeking to induce, and did induce, in my judgment, a large part of them to vote illegally, thereby adversely affecting the election results and undermining the votes cast by eligible American citizens.
And of course, Joe Biden said earlier this week as well that he does want to follow through on that amnesty for illegal immigrants that are in the country. He said that he wants to do so within the first 100 days. So I think that if Republicans do take your advice on what they're doing right now, that's potentially 11 million more votes that could be then legally casting their votes over the next couple of years as well. But Representative Mo Brooks, I appreciate you coming on the program tonight and breaking down the progress of where you stand regarding this issue. Thank you.
Thank you.